Welcome to War Thunder. What's up, dude? How y'all doing today? Well, I've just gotten to the point where I'm absolutely 100% over the top frustrated with what's going on in the game at the moment, especially at high tier. Now, the reason is because as I've been grousing about for about 2 years now, Gaijin has fallen down on their sword about maps and missions. Now, for those of you that are nothing but hair on fire, screaming demons looking to go out and commit Harry Carey in the sky, this is not for you. This is for the developers at Gaijin. Those people who put together this beautiful game, but then hamstrung it to the point of stupid. Now, you might not understand what I mean by hamstringing it to the point of stupid. Well, let me advise you again. And I do mean again. Maps are important. When you have a transonic, subsonic, supersonic aircraft, dealing on a small map is ludicrous. Downright stupid, in fact. Now, I'm not going to pull away from the fact that Gaijin did a magnificent job on redoing some of the air bases. Some of them look absolutely grand, perfect. Could not expect a better layout. However, they need to implement the mechanic that they're putting into the enduring confrontation into regular air battles. Now, those of you that don't know what that means, you probably haven't been looking at the news. What it is they are putting in a mechanic where you have to destroy certain zones of the airfield to take it out completely. And the hardest one to take out is the runway itself. So, you might not take out the runway, but you could take out the hangars, you could take out the fuel and ammo dump, and you can take out the administrative areas. Blah, blah, blah. And if you do that, the enemy team can land, but they can't do anything once they've landed. They can't rearm, they can't refuel, and they can't repair, which I think is absolutely great. Now, taking out the runway, that's... yeah. I've said it before. You bomb the runway, 15 minutes later, a bulldozer and a dump truck load of gravel and some steel matting, and the runway's back in operation. And if you don't think that's accurate, you really don't understand modern day warfare. Now, take out the ammo dump and the fuel dump, completely different story. Take out the hangar facilities where they do repairs, completely different story. You destroy those, basically the airbase is shut down. If you want a good representation of that, go read the book Red Storm Rising by Tom Clancy. Excellent representation of a Soviet airstrike on the airbase at Keflavik, Iceland, and what they hit. Now, roll that over into War Thunder. Now, we're not using planes as advanced as they were using in that story, but we've got planes that are pretty capable. These 750-pound bombs that I've got slung underneath my F-100 are a pretty good example of that. Although I do wish we had the high drag tail cones for them. That would make it much nicer. Be able to come in at a very flat trajectory and drop bombs on target and be out of the area before they blow your tail off. But that's another story. What I mean when I started this is you cannot fly this plane on the medium-sized maps. Alternate history Kreminsk. I know I said that wrong, but bear with me. You cannot be flying a supersonic jet on that map and one, hope to get up to speed, two, hope to get up to altitude, and three, be able to do anything other than just team deathmatch. That is a map designed to give the MiG-19, MiG-17, and MiG-15 all the advantage that they can get. Because, as I've said numerous times, those planes are lighter than their counterparts. If you don't understand that, just take a look through at the actual weights of the planes. An empty weight, the F-100 with no fuel, no ammo, is twice the weight of the MiG-19. The empty weight of the FJ-4B is nearly twice the weight of the MiG-17. The F-86 is nearly a third heavier than the MiG-15. And they all have comparable amounts of thrust. So, what does that mean? That means the planes that are lighter can accelerate and maneuver better than their heavier counterparts. Well, how do you fix that problem? Bigger maps that people can get up to altitude, get up to speed, and be able to engage. Now, you're going to find the F-100 driver who is trying to turn fight with a MiG-19 or a MiG-17 and gets his butt handed to him. He's an idiot. I know he's an idiot. I've been that idiot. Because I had no choice. I could not accelerate away from them, even with a full afterburner, because my plane is at least 2 times heavier than their plane, with the same amount of thrust. And even if you put me up against, like, the MiG-17, he's still far lighter than the F-100. He will be able to accelerate better. So, what's the solution? You don't turn fight. You come in, you make a screaming pass, and you scream on out. You get a lock on with the missile, you fire a missile, and then you just keep on going. Maybe the missile hits, maybe it doesn't. But what you do is you keep disrupting them, and you let the F-86s and the Hunters deal with the twisty-turny stuff. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Something a lot of the F-100 players don't do is don't do any ground attack. Why? This isn't the ground attacker. You don't know what you're doing. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I've done pretty good at ground attack. I'm not the greatest. I'm still learning the plane. But I'm learning the plane. You guys aren't even trying to learn the plane. You're just going up and being Buck Rogers or Duck Dodgers, whichever you wish to be called. You know, you think you're the hottest thing since sliced bread. Well, you're not. You're not even using the plane to its full capacity. And again, we can't even use the plane to its full capacity because we are limited on the size of the maps. 2 maps right now have been in rotation that are great. Afghanistan, although I don't really like it, is great. The other one is Alternate History Spain, which is great because it's got all sorts of stuff. Now, some of you are going, well, you just showing up there shooting down AI, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? It's a game. And one of the objectives on that map is to shoot down the AI. Oh, yeah, forgot about that, didn't ya? Team Deathmatch is a joke. It's a bad joke, and it's a bad joke played on all of you idiots. Start thinking about what you can do in the game that isn't Team Deathmatch. Now, yeah, there's going to come a point where that's all that's left. But every match has objectives. Every match has objectives. Time to start playing the objectives. Time for Gaijin to start rewarding for the objectives handsomely so that we don't have a bunch of bloodthirsty, well, I hesitate on what to call them, that really just don't care about anything other than flying at one another. You're the type of people that you see in these YouTube videos that are screaming and hollering and crying and flailing their arms, you know, impotently to make the bad man go away. Well, you know what? This is a game. Start playing the game for the objectives. If you're not willing to play for the objectives, maybe you need to go back to World of Warships or World of Tanks or World of Warplanes. And the objectives in this game need to be defined properly. Completing the destruction of the bases should be a huge boon. I mean, if you destroy a base, let's say I take my F-100 and go blast a base into oblivion with my 8 750-pound bombs. That should move me very far up the list as far as doing the job that was laid out in the objectives of the game. Now, there may be objectives like blow the bridge. And you know what? There is one of those in the game. Matter of fact, it works for both sides. The problem is, it's Korea. And Korea is a great map if you're on a BR, well, not a battle rating, but a Tier 4, early Tier 5 plane. It's great for those. It's too small for F-100s, MiG-19s, MiG-17s, MiG-15 bis, Hunter, F-86. And the sooner Gaijin wraps its head around that and starts getting some more large maps, because we can't be flying on these small ones and be doing anything other than team deathmatch, and I refuse to do that anymore. You can't even guess at the number of matches that I've looked at it and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is worthless. Now, if I drop back and I'm flying tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 occasionally, all the maps are great. I mean, all the maps are great. But it's when you get into mid tier 5 on up that you just haven't got enough good maps to go around. You basically got 2. Now, the Second Battle of Hurtgen Forest, the Battle of France map, those 2 might be of use. And there's that one where you've got the big bay with the bases on either side of the bay. That one might be passable too. But you've got to give a good reason for a ground attack component. Because team deathmatch is boring. Now, yeah, I've had a couple of good team death matches where at the end of it I was sweating and my heart was racing and it was a good fight. But I don't like team deathmatch. I like good fights done for a reason. Team deathmatch is not a reason. That's a lack of reason. I really want to see this done properly. And that means it might mean single team missions. You get in the queue and all of a sudden you're on a mission where there is no enemy air force. That might be an interesting switch. Where you, as the air team, are there to take out the ground targets. The advancing column of tanks, the advancing column of blah, 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 blah. Must remove the bridge before the enemy crosses it. Failure to do so means you lose the match. That's what I mean by better missions. Mission profiles that make sense. Mission profiles that are worth flying. The Berlin map, where the Germans are taking off from Tempelhof, would be absolutely spectacular if you could fly that mission and your mission objective was to take out the bridge that the enemy was already across, unfortunately, but to take it out before they cross. And if you don't do it in the first 5 minutes, well, that's an objective that you failed to complete. And it's something that the Allied team would have to realize you're doing. And they would have to defend against it. They would have to try and stop your bombers or your fighter bomber from getting to that bridge and planting an egg in it. God, I wish Gaijin could talk to me and give me, let me give them some ideas about what they can do for these missions to make them better. Because right now, they've got great mechanics. I love the planes. Some of the maps are absolutely spectacular, but they're not spectacular for all planes. This Subdude signing out. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow, and we'll catch you in the sky in Air Realistic on the good maps. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.